Like to call the Newtown.
Just give one second.
Are you all your mics screen?
Yep.
Like to call the Newtown. Call the Newtown Township Municipal Authority August 2nd, 2021 meeting to order. Roll call. Marquet.
Here.
Maria Kane. John Weaver.
Present.
Malik Savant. Operations Manager Stephen Neese.
Here.
Council J. Michael Sheridan.
Here.
Engineer Mr. Jamie MacCombie. Here. Thank you. Would everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Once had a chance to take a look at the agenda for this evening's meeting, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Everyone's had an opportunity to take a look at the minutes from the July 6th, 2021 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes. of
Do I have
July
a,
6th.
do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any announcements that I know of? Public comment. Please stand. Microphone, please state your name and your address for the record.
My name is Pam Lardison. I live at 4019 Fox Hill Lane in Newtown Square. I was at the last meeting after I had sent you a letter regarding our property and everything that has happened with it, with the sewer coming through. Just want to give an update on what's going on the property and how slow this process is going. So since that meeting, I had met with 5 different tree companies to get estimates for 2 of the trees that have died or are dying on the property that have been affected by the sewer. I sent on July 14th, all 5 of those estimates to Dave Porter. I heard back from him on July 29th to let me know that he's going on vacation and that he wants to meet with an arborist, which I assume is the township arborist, on August 16th. To discuss the trees and going forward. And then he wants to have a meeting with myself and hopefully Tom Tomasco, who will be doing the restoration from Tom Tomasco Landscaping, to discuss the scope of it. I know at the last meeting you said go ahead and hire someone and we would be reimbursed and it would be handled. That makes me very nervous not having any kind of written agreement. Tom would like to be paid up front because he feels that it's often very slow when it comes from public, when it's public money. I'm concerned if, we pay X fee and then come back to the municipal authority and the municipal authority says, I'm not paying that. So I would like a much more formal agreement than just your word that we can restore our property. And it's just a very, very, very slow process. As I said, this is the 3rd summer. We have no use of our backyard at all.
Okay.
No enjoyment, no use of it. It's not restored. So I guess I would like to know what are the steps to going forward outside of these 2 meetings that I'll be having with Dave Porter.
We could have counsel. Do you want to address that, please?
Yes, once the contractor and the amount is determined and the area is identified, because we understand there's been work done by the lateral installer.
Right.
And so once the area has been identified, then a formal agreement will be prepared, provided to you. I have sort of a Form 1 because we've done this in a couple instances. So that's not a big process, but it will.
Well, we were told by Dave Porter that the authority would take care of the mess that ma'am has left us with, because we have put up
I'm
with.
sorry, the mess that.
that Mid-Atlantic Mechanical has
No,
left.
No.
I guarantee we are not responsible for any work that Mid-Atlantic did on your property. None. We are going to quantify and qualify what was done by our contractors.
So that's a very different story than what I've heard since May 5th. And
Well, I don't know where you heard the
that is
story
from
from.
Dave Porter. I just
Well,
told you where I heard it
unfortunately,
from.
Mr. Porter's not here, but I can assure you, Mr. Porter did not ever state that we will, and if he did, he was wrong. We
He
are
did
not,
state
then we are not responsible for any damage that Mid-Atlantic did to any property in Echo Valley. None. It's not our responsibility.
Well, so I'll give you an example of one of the problems, which was also in that letter that I sent you. Joa said they could leave clean fill for us to fill our tanks. And they did that. It helped out the project because then obviously they don't have to truck that out of our yard. They left enough dirt, which was not clean fill. It was all filled with rocks and the debris from the yard, from all the trees coming down. They left enough to fill my entire cul-de-sacs,
Who was they?
J and B, Joe and Bradley. They left enough dirt behind to fill all of that. And then when
As I said last
Mid-Atlantic
week, last time you were here, we will be responsible for any damage that J.O. and Bradley did to your property. Dave Porter will come out, he'll look at it. They will work with your contractor, they will work with your landscaper and your tree guy. We will identify anything that J.O. and Bradley was responsible for. We will then get their bid or their bids, however you're gonna, if you're just using Tomasa, he'll give us a number. You have the tree bid, we'll do it. Council will draft a contract, an agreement, we'll have a written agreement, you'll sign it, we'll sign it, the work will get done. It's only going to be work that we, as our contractor, is responsible for.
But
Anything
leaving all
relating-
that dirt on the property has caused a problem because Mid-Atlantic went and spread it all.
Well,
over the
that's
property.
Mid-Atlantic. I don't know who told Mid-Atlantic to spread it.
Nobody.
So it's
Well, no one
Mid-Atlantic.
told you to leave for Joe and Bradley to leave.
We'll take responsibility for it.
Okay.
We will take responsibility. Also, I'm just going to go on the record. We are not going to pay Tommaso 100% upfront. I can tell you right now. So you can let it be known, we are not advancing 100% of
Can I
funds.
Pay him upfront and then get reimbursed if we have an agreement on the amount.
If you pay them, we will reimburse you when the work is done. We have no problem with that. We'll pay 100%, but I'm just telling you, we are not advancing 100% of the funds before any work is completed. We're not going to do it. So just make it known to him. We'll give you an agreement. It'll be in writing. We have done this many times with other residents. We've paid 100% of what we agreed to. It's never been an issue. But we will not advance funds until the work is completed.
Okay.
Okay?
Not particularly. Again, it's the third summer. I have no use of my property.
I understand.
Do
We're
you?
doing,
Because we had Joe and Bradley employees out on our property in May who said they would come back and fix some of it. And then Joe and Bradley changed their mind and we're paying the price for them changing their mind. We would have had our property this year and we don't have our property. I'm not having a family reunion because I don't have my property. I don't feel comfortable saying
Okay.
I can have my son's high school graduation next May because I don't trust anyone to tell us the truth and keep their word. We were told multiple things, multiple times. And now what was just told to us last in May, you're changing. And
I'm not
that's
changing.
upsetting.
I never agreed. We never agreed. So I don't,
Well, I take Dave Porter on his word that he represents the municipal authority.
it doesn't, I am surprised that if he told you that we're paying for
Because
Mid-Atlantic
he told
damage.
us, we put up with so much, he will admit that we will be made whole, and we have not been made whole.
You'll be made whole with the work that was done improperly or not completed by our contractor, J.O. and Bradley. That I guarantee you. With regard to Mid-Atlantic, any other public comment? Just, again, please, name, address for the record. Sorry, but this, none of the rules.
Rebecca Kovacs, 104 Springhouse Lane, Newtown Square. And I don't have a comment. I just have a question if there's
Sure.
any follow-up from the last meeting with what we discussed and the estimates that were provided in the letter that was given to the board that you guys said you would discuss. I provided last meeting copies of Botella's estimates and the letter that the Clags and I had requested. I provided them to everybody personally.
Okay,
Okay, and I was told that you guys were going to review it and discuss it, and that I was hoping to have some kind of a answer by this meeting. I had asked that we have the other meeting, and that one got canceled. So I guess, I guess now my question then becomes, is there any point of continuing to come to the meetings if even after we supply the information, if it's not going to be followed up on and addressed?
I'll be honest with you. I haven't had a chance to review it.
It's been a month.
Okay, I apologize, but I just haven't had a chance to take a look at it. I don't know whether any of the other board members have had a
Okay,
chance.
it's
If
3
they are, they can
pages.
chime in.
It's 3 pages in total, okay? And basically 2 pages of those are estimates that were provided
Right.
by Stephen Botella
Okay,
on how much the project is going to run us.
right.
Okay, and what it is that we, the Clags and myself, 102 Springhouse and 104 Springhouse, are asking the municipal authority to do on very similar circumstances where we were told on numerous occasions since 2018, one story, and then we did what we were supposed to be doing. We got the waivers. I paid my tap-in fee. I still don't have any kind of resolution or answer from the municipal authority, who the township has said is responsible for resolving the issue. They are not considering it. They are not
Right.
talking about it. They
Right.
said it's you guys.
Right.
So I'm asking then, in my public comment, could you please give me a confirmation on a date when you believe that you're going to have this resolved and an answer to us? Because this is going on now for months, months,
Right.
months.
Right. Have you looked at it?
Was it email?
It was.
It was provided in hand.
So I,
It was provided in hand and it
But
was
and
emailed.
did it not, Rebecca, include the request that the authority be responsible for paying for the installation of the cost of the installation? of the ladder?
I think that in all fairness, what we are asking for is not entirely, okay, but because of all of the additional expenses that we're incurring because of the information that we were given from the beginning of the
Right, I
project
remember
since
you going through it.
2018, right? We're asking for consideration. That's what we're asking for. Like, we're not asking for a lot here. We're just asking for somebody to address it at this point. We are citizens in Newtown Township, like ping pongs. And honestly, I think that even though you guys are trying to do a great job and give us your word, unfortunately, the word doesn't always count, because we got your word, we got your vote, we got your approval, we got your waiver, and we're still sitting here with no more than we were back in 2018, so
well,
all
I
we're asking
unfortunately,
for
I
is it
mean,
to be addressed.
with regard to giving you the waiver, I mean, we did what we were supposed to do. We did what we're authorized to do. Unfortunately, the elected officials decided not to follow through on what we agreed to do.
And it's a
And I
shame.
can't overrule, I mean, we can go to war, but at the end of the day, they're the elected officials. They chose not to give you the waiver that we are entitled to give you by the terms of the DEP. I mean, so we did what we're supposed to do.
Okay, so, but then that brings me back to my original question, okay? If you guys have the ability, and I don't know if I posed it to you folks.
No,
or
no,
if
it's
I
all right.
posted
That's
it to
good.
the township,
Yeah.
okay? If you have been given the authority to go out and do a project, to represent the township, to make decisions, to offer and approve a waiver, then why doesn't the buck stop here?
There's a technical issue. This is the technical issue. The 537 plan, the actual plan, is under the control of the township. Implementation of the plan is under the authority of the sewer authority. This is an area that is determined to be somewhat gray. Trust me.
I don't need to
We,
laugh.
I know, and I
It's just-
understand that. So we contacted DEP. We had a conversation with DEP, and we asked them, here's our situation. It does not have a negative economic impact on the system. It does not have a negative impact on any other homeowners. They're willing to pay their tap-in fee. They're just asking for an extended deferment whatever you want to call it, however long we gave you, I forget how long. And DEP said, you can do that. However, it did change the terms of the 537 plan, which was submitted by the township to get this plan approved in 2012, whenever we got the plan.
Correct.
So that technical issue of it had to modify the 537 plan is when the township supervisors got involved. They decided not to grant you nor your neighbors the waiver. Can't ask why. They never told us why. I don't know if they told you why. I don't know. It does not have a negative, it does not impact the system
Basically,
financially.
what I was told was, and this isn't word for word, this is
Go ahead.
just the interpretation.
That's fine, you can
Okay,
paraphrase
the
it, that's fine.
interpretation is that we're not modifying the 537 plan. This is the problem with the municipal authority
Right.
to resolve.
Right.
And that's why we're here and we keep, or I
So-
keep coming back and asking. You know, I mean, I
The
can tell you.
the other thing you can do is, I mean, you can defer for 10 years.
No, I can't defer, sir, because I have my house up for sale.
Okay, all right, so then
And
you
I
have to
lost my
connect. Okay.
contract.
All right, that's,
Okay, the way that the waiver was explained to us, not that it even makes any difference anymore, was.
right, the waiver would continue on with whomever bought the house, it would continue.
Correct.
Correct, you would not be
Correct.
forced to connect.
Until the septic system's little legs go up in the air and
Right.
say we can't do anymore.
That is correct. As I said, it is an area that unfortunately, we don't control the 537 plan. We should implement the plan.
Okay, so I understand all
So,
that.
so we're back to what your original question was. You gave us
Yes.
numbers. You're asking for the authority to offset some of the costs.
Correct,
That's essentially what your letter said.
correct.
I didn't read it. I didn't have time. I will read it. And we will address it at the next meeting. I don't know if we're gonna have an interim meeting because that may be the only bit of business. If not, it'll be at the September meeting. It will be, I guarantee you, we'll be addressing either at the interim meeting, August, whatever it is, 15, 16, 17, whatever that is, but guaranteed, it will be addressed at the September meeting by the entire board. That I guarantee you. That's a promise. It's a guarantee.
Promise.
No, it's a
Okay.
guarantee.
Okay,
Now, you may not like the answer,
no, you
But
know
I
what?
guarantee you,
understand that.
we will go through it. I'll
I-
have every board member go through it. Every
I
board member will comment, and then we will respond
I
at
understand.
the latest, that meeting, which is on September, whatever the first Monday in September.
So you have, sorry, you have if you do the interim meeting, it would be August 16th.
Okay,
If you do the one in September, it will be on Tuesday.
right. It's
August
day after
7th
Labor Day.
because of Labor
Labor
Day.
Day.
What, I'm sorry? Tuesday
August 8th.
It will be on Tuesday. It will either be August 16th
or September 8th?
or September
Which is-
7th, which is a Tuesday
It's a Tuesday night,
because of Labor Day.
Labor Day falls on Monday. So,
Okay, that's fine.
and we will give you a definitive answer.
Okay,
Guaranteed.
and I'm just gonna say this, because I say it every time I'm here. We did everything that we were asked to do.
I understand that.
Okay.
And I do understand that.
And all we're asking for is that you do the right thing. I mean, everybody wants to do the right thing,
Right.
hopefully, you know, so
Right.
that's all. Okay, so I
Okay.
will either see you August 16th
Or
or I'll see you September
the
8th
day after Labor Day.
September 7th.
or 7th.
Right.
Okay, it's like a standing date.
Yeah,
Okay, thank
Okay.
you very much.
all right.
I'll give you a handout because I tried to get some stuff together so that you would have some record of what I say. I brought a few copies and full packet. I had to put this together quickly because I just found out I was coming today.
I'll scan it and resend it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, my name is Ted Meehan. I live at 42 Rockwood Road in Newtown Square. And I'm here over a problem that has arisen recently with Aqua. First, first paragraph here says we had an issue going back a couple of years ago, which I did clear up. Worked with Mike Sheridan on it, and I found Mike to be easy to work with, and I have nothing but good things to say about him. But at any rate, towards the end of the agreement or the payoff, I got an email from Mr. LaFiata saying, you didn't get a bill from the municipal authority for the last quarter because Aqua said that you had zero usage. And so I said, I had heard from Aqua that they were sending out a guy to check the meter. And, you know, we talked after I had some idea what was going on. Shortly after the guy came out to check the meter, I got a bill from Aqua for almost $1,500. And I called up, I said, what's going on? And they said, well, we were estimating your bill for the last 4 years. And we probably underestimated month to month. So even though we were probably only off by 20, 25 bucks, you know, it added up and now you owe a lot of money. And I said, well, then what happened when the guy came out to read the meter? They said, he found the meter was broken. We don't know how long it was broken. And I said, well, I'm not quite sure how you have figured out that I owe all this money if you were estimating for all this time and then my meter's broken. But I said, I don't want any trouble with you. You know, you guys can shut my water off. So obviously I want to work something out with you. So they said, okay, well, here's the deal. We agree that it was our fault. We didn't come and take meter readings, and you know, you're the one that's stuck paying for it. So we're gonna let you pay it off $25 a month extra on top of your bill each month. And in 3 or 4 years, it'll all be paid off. I said, okay, I'll do that with you. So then shortly after that, I got a $1,500 bill from the municipal authority. So I wrote a letter. I said, here's what happened. Aqua gave me a whole bunch of estimated bills. And then the meter was broken and they charged me $1,500. So that's why you're charging me $1,500. But to be truthful with you, I don't even think I owe that much. After I heard from the municipal authority, I asked for the same kind of accommodation. Can I just pay this off like an extra $25 as each bill comes in? And they didn't. Mr. Lafayette didn't want to do that. So I, well, then I guess they suggested I come here, kind of lay my cards on the table and see what we could work out. In the meantime, I started thinking, you know, I'm trusting Aqua that they billed me $1,500, and I have no idea how they came up with that number, because they obviously didn't have a meter to read. My meter had been broken for who knows how long, and they were giving me estimated bills for 2 or 3 years at least. So I've asked them, I want to get some documentation how I owe all this money. So whatever logic you use to figure out this bill that you've given me, I want that. And I said, I'd also like to get a copy of my account balance, you know, month to month for the last couple of years, so I can share that with the municipal authority tonight. I said, well, you know, here's what you paid. And he starts reading off these numbers. I said, that's great. That's exactly what I need. But I can't just say these numbers. You know, if I need something on an email from you, something like that says came from Aqua, so that I can show it. And he says, oh, to do an email, that takes 7 to 10 days. 7 to 10 days to send me an email. I said, well, can you just take a picture of the account, you know, for the past year or two and scan it and email that to me? Oh no, to do that would take several weeks. This is what we're dealing with. So even though I guess I was invited to be here, I think Friday night, I did my best to try to get some documentation, which I don't have. What I have is some things that I can justify or document, and a good bit that I'm just telling you what happened, and you have to decide whether it's, you know, believable or not, you know, whether it's credible, and you can, you know, and I mentioned to Mike Sheridan and Mr. Lafayette that, you know, I'm coming, I want to show good faith to be here. I don't really have much documentation other than what has happened. And, you know, we'll have to see what we can work out.
So based on your conversation with Aqua, how long has your meter been broken?
I have no idea. I didn't know it was broken because
How was the meter broken? What broke? The
I think
meter?
there was a wire apparently.
There's a wire.
Yeah, there was some kind of a wire that the guy found that wasn't connected properly.
Can I ask, was the wire to the electronic read?
I don't know, probably, that's my guess. You know, there must have been something like that.
Because
But
that would mean that would mean that the meter was not broken, but the connection to the electronic read was broken.
maybe so. Maybe that's what it meant.
So the meter's
I don't
right.
know about it. All I know is
So what that would say then is the meter reading is accurate.
that. could
They
be.
just did not have an opportunity to read it because when they ride by with their equipment, they don't pick it up because it's not picking up electronic.
And if that's the explanation,
Okay.
then I understand where the water charge came from and I'm happy to pay it off.
Rich, so if I'm not mistaken, you were delinquent before.
Yes.
Are we current?
Current, if not very close before this bill.
Okay, and when this building that we're referring to, what quarter are we referring to this building that we now have a problem?
This was built the first quarter of 2020.
First
No, I'm
quarter?
sorry, first quarter of 2021. was
Okay.
built.
So the first quarter of 2021, the bill went out to reflect the revised reading that Aqua presented. And that based on that information, what is the bill that's owed to the sewer authority?
It's approximately about $1,000, but there's also a $110 penalty that was asked to be waived. That's why I informed him.
Okay, I understand it. Okay. So do we think Aqua's reading is capturing the last X amount of years? Is that what we're suspecting that Aqua did?
Having done this at my prior location, when I was in Phoenixville, we had electronic reads.
Yeah.
If the electronic read gets disconnected and you don't get a proper read, oftentimes you will do an estimate.
Right, I understand.
And you'll do that estimate until you get an electronic read that reads again.
Okay.
And so my guess is and I don't know this to be the case for sure, but if it's the wire to the electronic read, which is what it sounds like
Right.
based on what's being said,
Right.
that read would not have been taken. Then when they fixed it, they would get the right meter reading. And so they would have the gap between what he'd been billed and what he hadn't been billed for that period of time.
Okay.
And so
So this could be 4 years worth of bad readings. I'm
correct.
just picking a number 4. I don't know what it is, but this could be a reading, excuse me?
It's 556 days.
So it's a little over a year. So year and a half, right? 30, 150, 364, yeah, almost a year and 3/4. So Aqua estimated for a year, almost 2 years.
Well, I don't know where the 552 days came from.
Well, let's answer that question. Where did that come from?
Aqua.
Okay, so there's your answer. Aqua gave us that number.
And that's fine. So that's the information I would like to have too. You guys apparently have it from Aqua. They wouldn't give it to me. So
Okay. I'm just walking through this.
Yeah, and there was also, I guess, some understanding that I hadn't been paying my bill to the water company or to the municipal authority for a long time. And you don't pay your water bill, they shut your water off. I mean, if I didn't pay my water bill for like a year, there wouldn't be any water. I mean, it's.
Well, that's not our,
No,
that's
I
not
know.
our area of expertise.
No, but I'm just saying.
I'm focused on what you're coming in here for.
Yeah. and
So my question then is, if we take this revised reading and the calculations, and you add it to the estimate that he has been billed for What does that get us on a quarterly basis? And how does that look to what the homeowner would be using? From a reasonable standpoint, man standpoint. You know what I'm asking?
I do, I'm sorry. With the, I do, with the authority was billing him 0. So he has not received a quarterly water or sewer bill for the fourth quarter
Okay,
of 2019
okay.
through
So our bill that went out reflects
0.
how long backwards? A year and a half?
Yes.
Okay. So that dollar amount, let me just get the facts out
Okay,
and then
yeah.
we can talk. So the bill that we sent you reflects 5 quarters of non-payment to the authority. Because Aqua, we never got a bill from Aqua, therefore we could not bill you. Is that correct?
We didn't get readings.
Okay, but we didn't get readings, so
we
therefore we
based-
couldn't send a bill.
They were doing, Aqua was doing an estimate,
Right.
but they're not getting a reading. Because they're not getting a reading, we get 0.
I understand this. So there was no bill sent to this resident for 5 quarters.
Correct.
When we got the reading with the adjustments, the calculation showed that he owed the authority for 5 quarters, approximately $1,000. Which, obviously, simple math, that's $200 per quarter. Okay. Is that a reasonable number? Based on the history before this issue, how did that stack up to 2 years ago, Rich, on a quarterly basis?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't answer. I don't know that.
Okay. So if we understand this correctly, we didn't get any information from Aqua for 5 quarters. When we got the information, we then were able to recalculate, and what is owed to the authority for 5 quarters equals $1,000 plus whatever. But let's just stay with $1,000 principal amount, which equates you $200 for five quarters. And then we don't know what we were billing beforehand, though, do we? Back.
And what I would say, what I would also interject is that you may not have gotten any information from Aqua. That doesn't mean I wasn't being billed from Aqua.
Yeah, but I'm not worried about Aqua.
But I am, because if they're telling me, okay, this month you owe us $123, why wouldn't they tell you that? I mean,
Because
if the
if
estimate works for me,
we have to get actual readings.
no, but if the estimate works for me, why wouldn't it work for you?
Because the way it works is we actually get the reading.
Yes.
We do not get estimates, so we get a reading. If there's no reading, we don't get it. That's
So
just.
you and
issue.
you and I both have a good reason to be angry with Aqua.
Oh, I don't have a problem with Aqua.
No, I do.
You do, but
Yes, I
I,
do.
we don't.
I,
We don't have a problem with Aqua.
I have. a
So we're
big
dealing with the
problem.
problem in hand. So we have, you owe the authority $1,000.
According to Aqua, if they ever get the numbers together. for me.
Okay. And so what are you asking tonight? You asking us to,
Yeah, I'm asking for that same kind of an accommodation. If it's gonna be $200 a quarter, for the next 5 quarters, I'll do it. But, but I also want to, I guess, have some protection that when Aqua looks into this and comes back with their numbers.
we will adjust. If Aqua
Yeah,
finds that they overcharged you,
Right.
we will adjust the bill. We have no problem
that's kind of
whatsoever
where I'm coming
adjusting
from.
your bill.
And I really, it's not fair for me to be coming here when I don't have any idea what the hell they came up with. to
Right, I
bill me,
understand. I
And,
understand.
and I don't want problems with you, and I don't want problems with them, but they are really
He's also
incompetent.
looking for us to waive the late fees.
Okay, we can, that's not a problem. So. What are you proposing?
Just to have some type of an accommodation so that I'm not getting whacked for $1,500 right off the get-go.
Okay, so the first thing we can address is someone makes the motion to waive if we want.
Yep.
to waive, well, any discussion, let me ask you that. So, does anybody have any other questions or discussion on the subject?
Yeah, I guess part of the last thing I'll throw in is part of this balance
So
reflects some.
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike or David, back at the beginning of the pandemic, did we waive,
We waived late
we waived late fees?
fees.
We extended the payment.
We extended, that's a better way of saying, it. We extended the payment due date.
So that people wouldn't get it late.
So people
Okay.
wouldn't get-
So this extra $100+, is that late fees? Okay, so, but we've already agreed indirectly to waive them. Is that, although we didn't agree for five quarters,
You
but,
agreed for 2 quarters to,
okay,
if I recall correctly, it was 2 quarters, we
Okay.
extended the payment.
I understand, okay. So basically then we're looking at 3 additional quarters, right? Anybody want to make a motion to address this particular issue, and then we'll work on the next one? I'm open. Somebody?
I will. I will accept $200 a quarter for the.
No. The issue is waiving the
Late fees.
late fee of $110.
Roughly about $110.
$110. That's why I want to address this particular issue. Make a motion,
Make a motion that we waive the late fees of $110,000,
$110.
$110
Take the 110,000.
for the 5 quarters.
Okay. Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
Is there any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, now, that's done. We still have the principal amount of $1,000, which equates to $200 per quarter for the last 5 quarters. You just got a bill in the last day, 2 days? I got mine today.
Maybe a month ago or so.
No, it just came in the mail yesterday or
all right.
today or tomorrow.
But you have to get the water bill then.
So, Rich, what is that number?
I don't have the most recent number. I had the back payments for it. That's $1,000.
No, do you know what the current bill is for this property address?
This property, not the current bill. That just went out.
Okay,
I was concerned about the back bit.
I understand it. I'm just trying to count, because what you're asking is us to take part of this $1,000 and add it to your current building, so you don't get overwhelmed with 1,000, but at the same time, so I don't want to end up in a situation.
In other words, the way I see this, if the normal payment practice is to pay as you get billed from Aqua, then I'm asking for the same deal that if Aqua was going to bill me, to let me pay this off over a period of time, then I'm asking for the same kind of accommodation, because it should be consistent, I think.
All right,
So
Counsel?
according to Mr. Meehan's history, on March 31st, a sewer bill went to him in the amount of $1,008.33. So I assume that does not include the most recent quarter billing. You just got yours
correct.
today.
So it's this amount plus the current billing that went out, whatever that number is. Right?
Maybe Mr. Meehan didn't get his yet.
You may not have gotten it. I got mine today, so, or I got mine yesterday, so, for the record, I got mine yesterday, so. The Aqua numbers or
No,
his current situation?
Current situation.
Okay.
Let me ask this question for the board, just to, if you wanted to take action. My assumption is you would want him to pay his current bill, whatever
Oh,
it was
absolutely. I
for
mean,
this
yeah.
last quarter,
Right.
irregardless, that's not even a word, apologize.
Regardless of.
Regardless of what
Right, the
what
discussion
his
would
past
be,
deal is.
you have a current bill that's outstanding, you get it
Whatever
today,
that
you get it
is.
tomorrow, that bill's gotta be paid in full, then
Well,
we'll deal with the $1,000. And how you're gonna pay that going forward is the question we're trying to deal with
the
tonight.
current bill is what reflects the Aqua estimates.
Yeah,
And
well, okay.
the-
All right, so let me
wait a
ask you
minute,
this.
Wait a minute, the current bill is what I'm talking about. That $1,031.
No, that current bill, that 1,000 is past due.
Where'd it come from?
According to you, you got it March 31st.
I didn't get it March 31st.
Isn't this your summary? This isn't you?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is this you, Rich?
Yeah, that's the timeline.
Okay, so that's the timeline that.
Yeah, if there was,
Financial director.
that if there's a $1,031 bill from March 31st, that's the first quarter. Right, that is exactly what I'm talking about. I would have had no idea that I had that money, that I was owing that money. In fact, I didn't even get the Aqua bill until after that. So that's when that's when I started looking into this. And
Okay.
It was all based
We,
on.
here's where we are. You have a current bill that just was delivered yesterday, today, or tomorrow. That bill is for the second quarter of 2021. You understand? Do you agree with that?
I don't know.
Okay, well,
There'll be current charges on that bill. I want to be clear, just so.
you're gonna get a current charge of, let's just keep it consistent, $200 for the second quarter of 2021.
Yeah.
That bill you should get yesterday, today, or tomorrow. In addition, that bill will also say that you were in arrears, 1,000, whatever the odd number is, but let's round it to $1,000.
Yeah, that's what I would dispute.
I understand that. So your total outstanding obligation to the authority will be approximately $1,200. 200 current, 1,000 in arrears. We just approved to waive the penalties. Okay. So what I'm prepared to do is make a motion now that we agree to take your 1,000 and divide it by 5 quarters. That's 200. So you will be asked to pay the current charge plus $200 for the next 5 quarters, the bill, this one plus 4 more, which will bring you current to what you owe the authority. If Aqua revises those numbers downward, we certainly will adjust the number. Conversely, if they revise them upward, well, then we will adjust the bill the same way.
I'm asking.
Okay, so that is a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Are there any other questions or comments? Go ahead.
My only comment is that we're going to document.
Yes, we'll put together a 1-page.
We've done in the past.
But I also asked for whatever it is that Mike was referencing there, just so we're on the same page with that too, please.
Yeah, we'll document it so that our homeowner. Are there any other questions? Okay. All council, anything before we vote? Anything additional?
No.
Did I miss anything? We'll document it. What's the matter? You got that look.
No,
Okay.
just sitting here.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so you'll be paying the current bill you just received plus 200. And then going forward, it'll be the current bill plus 200 until we pay up to 1,000. As soon as you or we get clarity from Aqua, we'll make an adjustment if it's required.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay. Excuse me?
The due date for being.
It's on the bill. I don't know what the due date is. 15 days, 20 days, I forget, 30 days, 30 days. I don't. That's
Thank
it
you
so
very
much.
much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Any other public comment? Saw another resident. Come on up and
I don't know, I just wanted to get the status.
That's a what?
is this where we have the, yeah, so,
Sewer.
yeah, I'll give you a quick, so you don't have to stay. So we are evaluating it, our engineers evaluate it. We have a few things. They haven't come with a full design plan yet or anything like that. As you can see, Mr. Porter's not here,
Right.
although Mr. MacCombie is at the top. I don't think Mr. MacCombie's fully briefed on it. And so I did talk to Dave Porter before he went away.
Okay.
He is working on this and we will address it hopefully at the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right,
You're welcome.
bye-bye.
And no. That's fine. We're good. We're good. We're good. Okay.
Is still on.
Is Maria here?
She's been calling in, or not calling in, she's been texting me that she sees us on YouTube. I suggested she call you, but I said, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see the phone call coming
Did she
in.
get an invite to the Zoom meeting?
She didn't. never informed anybody.
Can you send it to her?
Also, let the record show that Khalid Savant is here.
Yes, I have it.
Thank you, I just wanted-
7:15.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, we can continue to move forward. You can work on trying to get Marie into the meeting. Fund transfer, consider approving the transfer of $2,606.25 from the escrow fund to the operating fund. This money represents the reimbursement of escrow money expended from the operating fund to the underfunded escrow accounts. I'll make a motion to make that transfer. Excuse me, do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Treasury report. Everyone's had an opportunity to take a look at the treasurer's report for the month of July. It's a typo. Do I make a motion that we accept that report? Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments on the report? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, payments. Make a motion that we pay the recurring bills paid on check register A dated July 15th, 2021, totaling $45,073.64. Do I have a second?
Second.
Are there any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
10.2, I make a motion, we consider approving the bills on check register A dated August 2nd, 2021, totaling $176,841.61. Do I have a second? Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
10.3, I make a motion to consider approving the payment for the bonds totaling $4,816.24 to Herbert MacCombie Engineering for Part 2 permit work, Act 537, Public Sewer Project relative to the Camelot service area. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
1.4, make a motion, we consider approving the payment from the bonds totaling $4,603.12 to Herbert MacCombie Engineering, Part 2 permit work, Act 537, Public Sewer Project relative to the Ashford service area. Do I have a second? Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
1.5, I make a motion, we consider approving a payment from the bonds totaling $6,700 to Brandywine Tree and Shrub for tree work associated with the Act 537 Public Sewer Project. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
10.6, I make a motion, to consider approving a payment from the bonds totaling $2,596.50. Michael Sheridan for professional service associated with the 537 Public Sewer Project. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
10.7, I make a motion to consider approving $174.80 refund to Craig Tanis of 13 Duty Drive for a duplicate sewer payment. Payment was made by the homeowner and settlement company. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
10.8, I make a motion considering approving $3,688.85 refund to George Horvath of 48 Delmont Drive. Property was being billed at the well rate since 2016, but is on public sewer. Do I have a second? Public water.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Engineers report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First item is regarding the sewer project update regarding the Ashford project. We're still waiting for J&B Bradley to provide a breakdown. They had requested in writing, they said that they have delays and had a breakdown of costs. We said, fine, provide them. We'll look at them. Haven't heard of what's the thing from them. So
You know my opinion of that, so don't continue.
that's what I got from them. So I.
Okay. I do have a question regarding, I continue to get emails from, I didn't bring it, the homeowner that's supposed to have their fence.
Yes.
J.O. Bradley's supposed to reimburse them. Oh,
Her name's Bradley, and I think the name's under Becky. I got it late this evening.
What is the status of J.O. Bradley reimbursing for the
Well,
fence?
we've asked them 4 times to pay. They've agreed to pay. They took down their fence.
Right, I understand that, but they haven't paid.
And they made a comment that until they got their last release, which I know they got probably a week or so ago, they weren't gonna pay them.
Okay,
Well, her comment was, where's the money? Dave Porter responded before he went away on vacation to her saying that MacCombie's got our money from the bond, so we presume that they got
okay.
their money from the bond, so they should be getting.
Please
their
have
money.
someone on your staff follow up tomorrow with Jay and Bradley, what's the status of
That's
paying them
absolutely
since
fine.
they've been paid in full for that specific drop? Okay,
Absolutely fine.
continue number 2.
Number 2, with the Camelot update, there's a startup testing on Wednesday with regard to the Pico outage, the Pico outage to simulate the power failure scheduled for the 13th of August, so they can get the generator, make sure all the other stuff is working properly. We need to observe that the generator is functioning properly before we can say everything's fine and ready to go. With regard to the old masters, I believe some of you may be aware that the agreement, my understanding from Dave, is that the electrical and the driveway agreement with the golf course and there's other issues with regard to trees that we're getting prices on.
Right,
We're supposed to get them today, we did not receive them.
okay.
So we're trying to get that. We won't talk about the other issue I've got. Okay, Ellis Preserve, Sector 1, Phase 2. We did receive a letter 2 days ago from DEP saying that they have to file planning modules. They're not going to grant them a waiver. File complete planning modules, which need to be reviewed by our office, and they need to be basically approved by resolution from the township, because it's a planning issue for them for their project. So that's where that's at.
Okay.
The the other thing with Dunwoody had overflow issues there. Their engineer was designing the redundancy, which Dave, I know, talked to them about, that they were providing holding tanks as well as grinder pumps and check valves, and said they're not all needed. And we were anticipating that they would have grinder pumps and check valves and not holding tanks for overflows. So they're supposed to get back to us. I believe that they're looking at eliminating the holding tanks and just going with the grinder pumps and the check valves to eliminate that. The last thing I had was Summit, which we just previously discussed.
Right, okay.
So if the board
Anybody
has
have any questions for the, our engineer? No? Okay.
I don't know if there's anything to state. Did you see the email today about down here at the school?
Delaware Christian Academy, I understand it is, but I understand it became a lateral
It's a
issue
lateral.
on site to them. I went by the site and they brought in Del Val Sewer to come in and check their lateral.
Yeah, there was a sewage overflow, but there's a lateral. It's not.
It wasn't our
it's not
line,
the
it was their
authority's-
line.
Our system.
It's not
Yeah.
our system. It's a private lateral.
And I did go by 3:30, 4 o'clock. I think it's Del Val Sewer was on site
That's my understanding.
trying to see what the problem was.
Right. But
I
it's,
don't-
yeah, it's a lot. The problem is there were sticks and stones and other debris in the lateral, which my understanding have been cleaned.
Okay,
But that's what caused the problem.
Okay.
It was their service lateral, not our sewer.
okay,
That was the issue.
okay. All right, operation management report?
The only thing I just wanted to bring up was just to make sure everybody saw the email, I believe that Mike Sheridan sent out to you related to agendas, to make sure everything is on the agenda really ahead of time. And so for us, that means Friday before, because of Monday meetings. So I just really, we're going to be working really hard to make sure we have everything and that we
So
spell it out. as
What
clearly
I'd
as-
ask is, I guess Nick is kind of coordinating this, would he send an email out earlier in the week to all members of the board asking if any board member has anything they want to add to the agenda or put on the agenda?
Yep.
So that by that Friday, the agenda will be set. As I spoke with council, it is a double-edged sword. Certainly, that means that whatever's on the agenda, that's what we deal with. However, if someone comes in, it's not on the agenda, then according to the deal, can't really be dealt with. So it's a double-edged sword. But yeah, as long as Nick gets that out to the board members and every member, just take a look and see if there's anything that you want to add to the agenda so we can cover it. I'm the most guilty of that, so I will make my best efforts to do it properly. Okay, I will admit that. I'm sorry.
I just want to make sure everybody
Yeah,
understands.
I was going
what-
to, I had it right here to comment as well.
Yeah, so that's the big
Okay.
thing. Everything else, as far as I understand from KBX, things are good.
Okay. New business. Do we have any new business? We do not have any new business. All business considered the adoption of the 2020 audit. As I've stated in the past, there is a issue, as I saw it with the audit. We were given by our engineer a number of $1,450,000 to cover our costs with regard to paving. The number that the audit come back with is approximately, well, it's not, it's $1,806,661. I've asked our engineer to explain why it went from $1,450,000 to $1,008,000. The last conversation I had with Dave Porter, which was this past Friday, they did an analysis based on the information that's been presented to them by the township's engineer. And that number equates to $1,540,000, $209.44. Let me repeat that. So our number, the number that our engineer is recommending is $1,540,209.44, which leaves a variation of $266, $451.56. I've been asking our engineer, when do we get the draft audits, Rich? Roughly.
3 months?
Right. So I've asked our engineer for 3 months to contact the township's engineer. I will tell you, the township engineer failed to respond numerous times. When they did respond,
I'm going to step away from
That's
my
fine.
position here.
That's fine.
But I happen to know that's not totally true.
Okay.
So
but what I do know is as of now, that number, there's a variation of $266,451.56. So we have two choices of the board. We can continue to wait and have our engineer continue to work with the township's engineer, or we can adopt the budget, the audit, with a change to the number that our engineer is recommending approval for. So I'm opening the floor to the board. That is the information that I have after 3 months of going back and forth. So open the board for discussion, questions, comments. And what direction do we want to take? We do have to get this approved at some point because we have to get it to the trustee. Whether we get it to the trustee,
We're in default under.
we're in default under the bonds, under the terms of the bonds, right?
Right.
Technical default. What we call non-monetary default.
Yeah.
Right. So we are under technical default, but not an issue of substance. So that is the information I have. That is the information that's been provided to me by Mr. MacCombie and Mr. Porter, based on the documentation that has been shared between the township's engineer and the authority's engineer. This is for all the paving that was done in Echo Valley and all the paving that was done in Florida Park. Correct? Correct. So I am.
So I'm trying to understand it. You say that, so there was a number far in excess of the $1.8 million or the $1.5 million that was paid by a combination of the township and the authority for paving last year. This is a question of how does that paving number get split between the two?
Correct. The township paid the bill already. And whatever the number was, I don't know what the township side of it was. And then we had asked our engineer to work with the township's engineer to determine how much money the authority was going to be reimbursing the township for, to pay for paving. At that point in time, I'm going back a year, maybe longer, in between. It was estimated to be about $1,450,000. It was an estimate, but it was a number. When I got the audit and I looked at it, the number was $1,806,000. My call to our engineer was, how did we go from $1,400,000 to $1,800,000? This board has no idea that the number went from $1,450,000 to $1,800,000. So it's got to be explained as to why it went to $1,800,000. And so I asked our engineer to contact the township engineer to work through. How did we go from $1,400,000 to $1,800,000? Because I think this board has a responsibility to be able to answer that question. I think our engineer has to do that. So they went back and got whatever information they asked for from the township's engineer on all the work that was done. And based on all the work, the information they were given and the calculations they did, they're projecting that our, based on that data, that our obligation is $1,542,0944. Which is less than the $1,080,000, it's $266,451 less than the $1,806,661.
61, right.
So
Well, I think we should listen to our engineer. Information we have.
our choices are, we can adopt it, or we can continue to see if engineer can work through the issues. Dave, Jamie, do you want to chime in here?
Yeah, I can tell, because I looked at it with Dave. Dave looked at the information like it. What was provided. Originally, I guess Dave had met with Eileen Nelson, who's the township engineer, went over the numbers, and I think Giovanna was involved as well, and came up with a number. I think they were pretty much agreeable to that. Then more recently, and I don't know the exact dates, more recently, I don't know if it was a month ago, a couple months ago, an additional extra was given to Dave in the amount of $266,451.31. And David asked, what is it for in reference? What it was for, at least how it was explained to David, and this is my understanding, because I did look at the stuff, I did discuss it with David, was that the base, mainly in the Florida Park area, was substandard, and there was a lot of pumping in it. So when they were trying to pave the roadway, they felt based on, they had, this is off the top of my head, I think it's Earth Engineering, they had a geotech come out, run an analysis of the sub base that was on the streets in Florida Park, and recommended different compaction levels, different excavation levels, additional stone and base material be put down with that. It was throughout the area. I know David's concern as well as mine is where was the testing done, which I've never seen exactly where it's done. The quantities, we were concerned because we didn't come up with the kind of quantities where they are, because of the fact is they were saying that there was stone missing in basically throughout the roadways. Concern on our part, because we know for a fact there was stone put back in our trenches that we put the pavement in. We put the trench, when the trenches for the sewers that went down the street were put in, they were put stone, and then there was a temporary, but it was a permanent pavement that was put on there. This additional money was actually for the stabilization of the roadways. Some of the roadways, at least that were mentioned, we didn't put sewers on. I think one was Pomona. So Pomona, we don't have any sewer that we installed in that street. So the concern David had was where were the quantities, I mean, exactly where, reflective on where our sewers were put and where the roadway was done. Because in our opinion, it didn't have to be done throughout the roadway. It had to be done in certain areas and not necessarily exactly over where we put the sewers. So when they came up with the quantities, we don't agree with the quantities. And we've asked several questions and haven't gotten a direct answer from, at least that satisfies us to represent to the authority, that we think that the authority needs to pay this additional $266,000 because of the fact that we don't know specifically where this testing was taken and specifically where those areas of concern were. It seems like it was generally throughout all of the roadways in Florida Park, and a lot of the areas in Florida Park had substandard pavement to begin with before we even started our project. So that's what our concern was, is that their testing documented that they felt that the sub base, in essence, if you would have paved it, it would have just broken up. So it was, from township standpoint, I'm not disputing that there may have been beefed up the roadway standard, because obviously you're not going to put down, say, 4 inches of material and have it break up 6 months later. That's ludicrous to do. So you need to provide the appropriate base and all. Our concern was, where is it at? And in fact, is that the authority's responsibility as opposed to the township? In other areas throughout Echo Valley, we came out with the same numbers. You know, the areas where we stopped and what they did, we paid for our portion. The township share was based on areas that we hadn't done sewer work and stuff like that, and it worked out fine. And this, we thought everything was congruent. We were all on the same page. And then, I mean, I'm not going to say it was at the last second, because I don't know the specific time frame. I did look at the documents after David had looked at them, got this additional dollars in, from my awareness, is that was totally to deal with the Florida Park area and the additional base additional excavation that was needed, plus the additional materials that were needed to provide the appropriate driving surface roadway, which our concern was where the testing was and was it effectuating the whole area, because that hasn't been pinned down. So that's our best engineering
So
judgment.
your,
this
your
time.
best engineering is that the authority, based on the data you have, would be $1,542,0944.
At this juncture, yes.
I thought what I heard you say was that the authority may be responsible for all or a portion of this additional 266. It's a very finite, quantifiable billing that we're disputing with the township.
The answer, sir, is that without more specifics than what we were given, I'm not in a position to recommend the authority pay another dollar other than what we can verify. You're, and in essence, if there's additional information provided that can document some of that, yeah. I don't think, because some of the areas that we were told was Pomona, and that was one, like I said, I know we didn't put sewer down Pomona. So why would the sewer authority be responsible for any of that quantity? So there's other areas there. If we sit down and maybe decide at this juncture, I can't recommend the authority pay any of that. Because I don't think there's enough information that's been provided to our office that I'd be in a comfortable position saying, yeah, I agree that we should pay. I'm not saying that there may be a portion of it that in the future we may be, but at this juncture, in my opinion, I don't think there's enough information provided in our office to tell the board that you'd be a responsible party for that. That's my opinion as a professional engineer.
My sense is that conversations have to occur with the engineers, the municipal authority, and the right person in the township to split up this 266 one way or the other.
I think there's been emails going back and forth, but nobody has really sat down. I mean, we've asked questions, we've gotten emails back, we looked at the emails, I still have more questions, gotten emails back. I think, in my opinion, it may be prudent to sit down and see hard, I mean, I think it's easier to talk face to face and say, this is the areas that were involved and this is why, because the information I have based on the transmittals back and forth does not give me a warm feeling to say to the board that you're totally responsible for all this.
Okay, with that said, then, why don't we do this?
Do you have a comment as?
I just want to say, through this process, I've stayed out of the decision up to any point because of my role as the township manager and my role as the operations manager. I've asked the engineers to work it out.
So have I.
Huh?
So have I.
No, I'm
For
just
3
saying.
months.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I know why the township's taking their stand for the 266 in that what it's related to, as my understanding, and maybe there's more that's there. I'm happy to bring the engineers in together and sit down, but my problem is, as you know, I have to represent the township, and that's
fine.
my
I have no
first
problem with
piece.
that.
If you're okay with me meeting with both and trying to work this out, I'll do that. But I have not done that because I represent both of you.
So basically what I'm hearing then is, if the board agrees, we should instruct our engineer to, within the next 2 weeks, we have to get this done one way or the other in 2 weeks. We can't go till the end of the month. It's go to September to approve this audit. To instruct the engineer, when's Porter back? Next week?
Yes, it'll be back
All
on
right.
Monday.
So when he's back, to get as quickly as possible with the township engineer, get in a room, go through the numbers, outline what you need so that you're not going to waste your time in a meeting when they say, well, we'll get it to you. We got to have an answer. And then you can come back and you can say, based on the information, either yes, we're part of that 266, none of that 266, whatever the numbers tell us. Okay?
That's fine.
And then, like I said to Dave, if it is all of it, you guys got to prepare to tell us how we missed the boat from $1,450,000 to $1,800,000. Okay?
Well, and quite honestly, we've had discussions in here about the quality of the roads. Dave's been talking about
Yeah, and,
Quality
and
of the
those roads
roads
were in bad shape to begin
And
with,
those
with or
have
without
extra costs.
sewer. The roads were in bad shape to begin with, when we even opened them up to begin to put sewer in. So it raises the question of, there's just poor road work to begin with, not with or without the sewer, the roads are failing. Some of them, I don't know all of them, and they could outline it all. So, all right, so why don't we do that? Let's get you and the township engineer in a meeting as quickly as we can, once David's back from vacation. And then we will have, assuming you can do that, and you can come to a conclusion, we will have, I'm telling you over now on the record, we'll have an interim meeting in August so that we can come to terms, adjust the audit, and get the audit approved. Anybody else have any comments on this? Council? No? John, anything?
That's it.
No? Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Okay, so for those members of the board who were not here last meeting, we had a presentation, this is under old business, we had a presentation from the Newtown Bloom, which is the nonprofit organization in the township that has asked if we would be interested in leasing some space to them for a community garden. They have identified a piece of ground that we own, which is down the street here across from the baseball field on Bishop Hollow Road. It's the piece of ground that we use for the laydown yard in the early stages of putting in the sewer system. We just received within the last 2 days their 501c3 documentation. I sent it to council for review. I asked council to review it to make sure that it's up to date and it's current. So I just wanted to brief the board that they were here. There are other issues they have to get with the township with regard to zoning. They talked about putting a fence. They're going to get zoning for that. They talked about parking. I guess that's also going to be an issue of zoning. Maybe, maybe not. We do have utilities on the site, so they can have water, they have power. There was one other issue with zoning. Fencing.
I think the big issue is where it is. They wanted to put up a shed.
Right.
And so
And
the
so-
question is,
I haven't had a chance to walk the site with them. Time got away from me in the last, whatever, I just haven't had a chance. So I will get with them. I'll walk the site. I think they have a site plan. We can walk it, we can stake it to show where it is, and then I can show the board what they're proposing. And then we can, by then, council can review the 501c3 documentation. And then we can then discuss as to whether or not we want to enter into a lease with them to do a community garden. They would be in charge of setting it up. They'd be in charge of running it, maintaining it, managing it, monitoring it, and dealing with issues. Insuring, all of that would be on them, correct. Okay, it's a true triple net lease from the authority. If we go that route, that's the route we would take. Okay,
I would just mention that I have been working with the zoning officer. We think that if they do it as in partnership with the township, that we probably don't have to go through zoning, but we're just working.
okay. However they want to do it, I just want to brief the board since you weren't here and you weren't here last week. They came and they made a presentation. I'll let it go with that. Okay. All right. Next is executive session. So can we go to executive session? Please. Are we?
everybody's lights are green, you should be live.
Okay, we're back from executive session. There's no action. I'm sorry. What's that? Thank you. We're back from executive session. No action is to be taken at this time. That is it for the meeting. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.